Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 52 of From the Van. It's a podcast from my van, where I have conversations with people who have relationships with residential vehicles. I'm your host, Marty Benson, and today's episode features Peya Bass, a lovely young lady from Idaho who lives in a very large van. Guys, it's March 20th, 2020, and I know that there is one thing on everybody's mind, and I just wanted to address that. Marty, it's Friday, and you haven't put your podcast out yet. What is going on? Everybody is on the edge of their seats looking for the new From the Van podcast, and for the first time, you're like 3 days late, man. Well, I just want to tell you guys that I have absolutely no excuse. Things have been trucking along perfectly as usual. I just sort of fell down on the job, so I apologize for that. Fortunately, we were able to meet up with Peya and record this podcast a couple weeks ago, and I think it's pretty good. It's a pleasant conversation. She's a very nice, sharp lady, and we talked about her time working on marijuana farms up in Northern California, and she and Colette got to rap out a little bit about what it's like to be a woman in a van, and Peya has the the experience to sort of opine on what it's like to be a woman alone in a van. I hope that you enjoy episode 52 of From the Van featuring Peya Bass.
There's a dramatic, trucker fridge.
Nice, yeah.
Oh. I like it.
We get the Dometic before, and the top loader, super efficient, it works like a dream, and so we just decided to stay with the same company, but get something that worked more with the design that we were going for.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And it has a little freezer in it.
That's the big deal.
Which is
That's the
so
winner.
huge for us because we love smoothies, and now we get to have our frozen fruit.
Stop, you're making me jealous.
Oh, we were so sad for a year and a half. But the big top loaders that they make that have a freezer in them.
I was pretty happy for
No, I meant sad about the freezer thing, but that's it. Everything else was good. But the dramatic top loaders that they make that have a freezer are just massive. And we're like, we don't need that big of a freezer. We just need a little freezer. Yeah. So that guy's perfect.
Like the Dometic, the top loader, the massive one that I don't need. It's like the 65. Okay. And I thought I ordered the one that it's like the 65 dual zone. Like I could have sworn I clicked that option and it was on sale. And so was the other one without the freezer. And I ordered it and it came and it was not the dual zone. And then the dual zone had gone off sale and was like $300 to $400 more. Because it was Black Friday or something. So I'm like, all right, I'll just take the L. I don't really need to have ice cream in the van. And now I'm like, okay, I need frozen bananas for my smoothie.
Oh, frozen bananas.
Or even ice. You don't realize how much you use ice in a van. Mm-hmm. So I did a little shout out during my van tour. And I was like, Dometic, send me a fridge. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. And when you get ice cream, you got to commit to the whole thing. Which could be a good and bad thing. You're like, okay, Ben and Jerry's, it's you and me tonight.
So far, it's only dissuaded me because I'm like, I can't finish that. I'll just not get it, which is probably good.
I usually will go for an ice cream sandwich instead.
Yeah.
Because it's more compact.
Yeah. That's
I can
a nice
finish that and not feel horrible about it.
I was actually thinking, so we only probably have 3 or 4 inches high by what is it, 12 inches, 10 or 12 inches wide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of freezer zone, and I don't think it'll fit a pint of ice cream, but
it might.
Ooh, yeah, I
Have
think
you had the It's ice cream sandwiches?
The ice cream sandwich company from San Francisco.
Ooh,
they make the best ice cream sandwiches I've ever had.
He doesn't even like sweets.
Yeah,
he loves them.
Do they have a? Do they have a dairy-free option?
Oh, that's right.
I don't know the answer to this question.
They might.
Okay,
who knows?
we'll
Ben and Jerry's has a lot of dairy-free options now.
Yeah, it's amazing. And they also have, they carry really good vegan ice cream sandwiches at Whole Foods, I think.
Nice.
They're the coconut milk ones, and they're so good because it's creamy and coconutty.
Nice.
Oh, now I want ice cream.
Me
and
too.
a freezer.
Me too.
Peya, where are you from?
I'm originally from North Idaho, Sandpoint, Idaho, to be exact.
It's blowing up right now. You can't buy property there anymore.
Gem in the North.
Really?
Game over.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah,
What's so cool about it?
it's just like probably my favorite place on earth. I don't know. I'm kind of biased, but we have the mountains. Like we have a really nice ski mountain in the winter, and then in the summer a really nice lake. It's just, and honestly, it's so beautiful up there. It's so wild and
Nice.
Yeah, it's incredible. You guys definitely have to take this out there.
One of these.
Come
we haven't
through.
been to.
Maybe
Yeah,
we'll take them both.
No, let's not do that.
Well, that's one of the things that people keep saying is like, if you take the van to where people want to be and rent it out,
Yeah,
you'll get premium dollar for it.
that's true. Yeah, and
Sounds
a
like a lot
lot.
of work.
I mean, the Pacific Northwest in the summer would be a prime place to sell that van.
So you grew up there,
Yeah.
and then you spent time elsewhere too?
Yeah, so
Where's that?
my family has always had a house on the lake up in Sandpoint, and we've had a ski condo off and on up there. Have a lot of family there, so I spent all summers there, some winters, and then from elementary school on, I grew up in like Eastern Washington, Spokane area.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then my parents recently moved back to Sandpoint a couple years ago, so now my whole family is pretty much there, and that's where we're based.
Nice.
And then what happened? You went to school and...
Yeah, so I wanted to go finish school somewhere warm. I mean, I was like in the cold my whole life, and so I headed down to like the only warm city that I had heard of, Phoenix.
Okay.
And I spent some time there. And yeah, I was just gonna start my life there, and that's kind of when I found van life, and yeah, just, I don't know.
How'd you find van life?
So I found it through social media. I was getting really into minimalism and watching a lot of YouTube videos, to be honest. And
Yeah.
I found Jinty Fell on YouTube, and just like, hi. He's like looking at me.
What do you need, bud? What do you need?
Such an asshole.
She seemed like so happy and so fulfilled with so little, and like just she had a beautiful lifestyle, and it was really inspiring to me. And I found that like when people were like, when my family was calling me, or you know, like when I was talking to friends from back home, they'd be like wanting to talk to me about my life, and I wouldn't be like excited, you know. I'd be like wanting to talk about like, you know, other things and dreaming of other things. So
Sure.
yeah, I decided that I wanted to do van life. I put together like I was with a partner at the time. I put together like a whole like presentation for him. And I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like, I got this. And I presented it to him, and he's like, yeah, sure. Like, I'm down. And so, then I had to call my dad, because he was like an integral part of this. Cause I'm like, if I'm gonna do this, like, I want help building a van. My dad has a shop, and he's like a super skilled craftsman. And, so I gave him a call, and I was kind of like anxious about it, because I'm like, I don't know like what he's gonna think about me quitting school, you know, selling all my belongings and like going and living in a van. So I called him up, and I brought it up kind of like tentatively, and he was like, yeah, that's cool, yeah, let's do it. And so I just sold like all of my stuff within a month from then, and headed up north, and yeah, got a van, and the rest is history.
Up north to Idaho.
Up north to Idaho.
From Arizona.
From Arizona, yeah.
Yeah.
Why didn't you do a presentation for me? You just one day were like, yeah, and like,
she told me about
let's
this
watch
before.
YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So
I kind of like-
homeboy was like out of town,
Yeah.
and she decided that she was gonna do this. So she put a whole presentation together for when he came home, and was like, this is the answer to this no, and this no, and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then he was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And so you guys both went together back up to Idaho, right?
Yeah.
And built the van out for how long?
It was mostly my dad and I building the van out, and
Okay.
while my partner worked. And it took us about...
But y'all are in Sandpoint at the time. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
and it took us about 1.5 years to do.
Okay.
That was with like taking a little break off. The winters are brutal up there, and my dad hadn't insulated his shop yet. So we were like, I was like out there in a full snowsuit, like with my hat on, like hand warmers, like shaking. So it was a slow go. Like none of the materials would work. Like the glue has to be a certain temperature and stuff like that. So we got a little bit done in the winter, but mostly like did it in the springs and summer. So yeah. And I mean, honestly, what drew me to van life though, like, is just I was craving like something more and something different, and I wanted to like start, I don't know, I was inspired by the people that I saw in my life and online to like put my happiness before like societal expectations, which was super freeing and amazing.
But you just jumped after it, like you didn't have like homies at the time who were living in vans.
Not that I like was super close to but honestly, like, I wasn't really scared. Like, I wasn't afraid of doing it. Like, a lot of my friends since then have been like, dude, like, I want to do this, but I'm, like, nervous, I'm afraid and stuff. But, like, I feel like my biggest fear has always been, like, living a mundane life. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that scares me more than, like, any risk of, like, what's gonna happen, like, on this adventure.
Being boring is terrifying.
Yeah. It's scary. Like,
I hate to tell you this, Marty, but
I just
But you're boring.
You're not boring.
So what's the timeline? Like, what years are we talking about? When do you move from Phoenix up to Sandpoint to do the build? And then when do you finally finish the van?
I think I moved to Phoenix in 2017. It's been about a year there. No, that's not right. 2018, maybe? Anyways, so like 3 years ago I was in Phoenix. So I was like 21. Yeah, 21 in Phoenix till 22. Then when I was 22, I moved back up to Sandpoint with my partner, built the van until I was like 23 and a half, and now here I am, and I'm 24 and traveling around in my van.
So how long have you been in the van? Like,
full time, like, sorry, like 6 months, 7 months.
Nice.
I also lived in it for a summer when it was not
finished,
built out, and then right when I got it, actually, I just threw a bed in there, and I did like a West Coast trip. So I went from Idaho over to the coast by Portland, brought it all the way down to San Diego, then up to Colorado for like a van festival, and it was fun. It was
nice,
simple and cool. I just couldn't wait to get on the road with it and like feel the feeling.
Yeah, we were staying in the mattress when it was just like a tin box with an air mattress in it, and you get excited about it. I think it was like the second day that Marty had it, we like took it to San Clemente. And we're like, we got a cooler and like the air mattress, and we're like,
I remember just like laying on like my bed and just like for like hours just looking at the van and like envisioning everything. And I think you asked me last time, you're like, what was the transition like from house life to van life? And I'm like, it wasn't that bad because of that trip that I did. Because like I got used to being in the van with just a bed, and then like after you like live in a van with just a bed for a while on like a cross country trip, and then you all of a sudden have like a water system and a bathroom and everything, it's like, wow, this is luxury.
Sure.
It's crazy nice. To feel out like I feel like these days, after you move into a van and then you can take the van wherever you would go car camping anyway.
Yeah.
Unless you're backpacking, you don't get the experience of camping anymore. Because you just drive up and you're home. You know?
Have all the amenities and you have all your things, I still like to backpack, like, you know, like, I don't know, go to a national park and backpack around. So, still a nice experience.
So, you move up to Idaho. You're building the van out with your pops.
Yeah.
You're with the boy.
Yeah, the boy.
And you finish the van, then what happens?
So we finished the van. Our goal was to have it done by Descend. We almost got there, but we didn't care anyways. We're taking it to Descend. So
Undone.
Unfinished, yeah.
Okay.
So last year, 2019, we went to Descend on Bend. It was a magical experience. And I ended up... The original plan was to take the van to South America. So we had some savings and we wanted to take it from the top to the tip and back. And so we're like, okay, we need to, either go on a small trip and then save a bunch of money or whatever. We were still figuring out how we were going to fund this trip.
Sure.
So I meet this girl at Descend and she's like, so you're like, what do you do for, remote work? Like, how do you make money on the road? And I was like, I haven't figured it out yet. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, dude, come with me. I have some seasonal work in Northern California. And I was like, oh, okay, what do you do? And she's like, well, I trim pot down there. I'm like, all right.
Sure.
And she told me about it and it sounded super lucrative and fun and a little bit more free, you're your own boss. And so I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. I'm in. So we took the van after Descend, finished it up a bit up in North Idaho, and then ended up taking it down to Northern California and started doing that for a bit. So yeah.
And how's that?
It was amazing. It was a really interesting, unforgettable experience. I went through a lot of life changes there, so that was one thing, and also just being in that environment. And yeah, it's a crazy little place. It's a little pocket in California in the mountains, and it's the Wild West. It's
cool.
It's pretty crazy.
I had a lot of friends. I got hot and then I got cold again. I had a lot of friends that did it, but before legalization, and I'm always curious how it changed.
Yeah,
because I know they were making good money, but some places you work for would be a little bit sketchy, and then you wouldn't get paid like you were supposed to because it was all not legal, and so everyone's just kind of fending for themselves. And so is it become more of a business?
I think so, yeah. So I think it's become a bit more professional, at least in some ways for some people. And then also you make a lot less money now because of legalization.
Sure.
It's not as crazy as it once was. But yeah, I think legalization has definitely made it less risky to do. And yeah, I was going somewhere, but I forget what I was thinking. It still definitely has its sketchy corners, you definitely want to know someone, or just you have to be cautious.
Yeah. Buddy system almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Buddy system, the referral program.
My experience was super hectic.
Yeah.
When I went in there, I worked for so many different scenes when I trimmed weed, and this was almost 10 years ago. But I went up to Mendocino County, which is far from where you're
yeah, so it's
based, right?
Where I go is kind of near Mendo. Yeah.
But inland.
Yeah, inland a bit.
Yeah, and I had a shepherd, who was a friend of a friend and whatnot, but was trying to get me gigs, and the first gig was really friendly, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Mm-hmm. And I didn't make any money there, really. Mm-hmm. And then we got shuffled through a few different scenes where some of them were cool but not lucrative, and some of them were lucrative but not cool. And then I eventually made it to one that was terrifying, where I saw a pistol.
I think we spoke about this.
next to the router, because I had another job, and I went into this place, and everybody who was working there was sleeping on cots in a mostly finished garage that was basically the size of an airplane hangar. Wow. And I walked into the place and I was like, hey, my buddy, I only had a bicycle and a surfboard, and my buddy that had given me a ride out there in his car was like, we'd been there for 2 hours, and he was like, I'm not really feeling this. I'm going to get out of here. And I was like, well, I'm going to stay because I don't know what else to, like, I don't want to go back to San Francisco. So I'm going to stay here for now. And I asked the dude for the Wi-Fi password, and he was like, yeah, the router's in the bathroom, or in the bedroom. And so I walk over to the bed, and there's just a bed on the floor next to the router and a giant pistol in there. And I was like, fuck, man. I'm so scared right now. Yeah, so it's like a weird situation. And then the last scene that I worked in was like
a mom and pop.
A really sweet woman who with a family who had a 100-year-old business making rugs and stuff, but they also had weed as a side game and shit.
Okay.
It's a fucking...
Yeah. I mean, there's all sorts of characters out there. Like, you run into, like, so many different types of people, like, working and running farms. And so, I think that's my favorite part about it, because it's pretty unpredictable, but, like, at the same time, like, that has so many positives to it, because I've met so many, like, interesting and cool people.
Why? Why do you like that?
I love it. Like, I don't know. I think maybe it's just because, like, I went into it thinking it was going to be one way, and I ended up having so many incredible life-changing experiences that I would have never expected. It's funny because I look back on my time, like, that I've spent there, which wasn't that long. It was about 6 months. And it seems like, you know, when your life is predictable and you start to, like, the years start to go by really fast. Like, you're like, oh, like, I don't know, like, I've had years when I was going to school and working and, like, just, I had the same routine and I had the same people I was surrounded by the same people all the time. And it just started to feel like, oh, wow, like, another, like, Christmas. Whoa, it doesn't seem that long ago.
Sure.
But, like, when you're in, like, even van life, I mean, but when you're in a scenario when it's always unpredictable, always changing, like, in where I was, you're always surrounded by new people because a lot of the people come there to work and then leave. Like, so they're, like, coming from all over to, like, work, especially, like, internationally, to work, and then they leave, and it's just a cycle of new people all the time, and you learn so many new, like, languages, you learn new, like, cultures, and just, I don't know, like, I had some experiences that I'll never forget, and that I would have, like, sought out, or even, like, thought about. Like, for instance, I worked with this Polish man, on the farm that I stayed at for most of my time there, and, he actually had a background as a shaman. So he spent, like, 5 years in the Amazon, and, like, these are the type of people, like, you run into. Like, you just never know who you'll meet. So anyways, he spent, like, 5 years in the Amazon, and he learned how to do combo ceremonies. Have you guys heard of combo? It's like the secretion of the Amazonian monkey frog. I don't know the exact name for the frog, but
I've heard about
he called it a monkey frog. So I ended up doing combo, like having a combo ceremony, 2 combo ceremonies with him, and it was magical and life-changing, and, like, I just have so many, like, different experiences, and it added up to, like, such a, such a beautiful...
Is that, like, a super heavy-duty, like, psychotropic experience?
No, it's not psychedelic at all. It's, actually more, like, grounding, like, you don't experience any visuals or anything like that. It's a poison. So they do, like, it's like 7 little dots. I don't know, mine are disappearing.
I only see 3.
Oh, I see them.
7, like,
Oh, yeah.
little burns on your arm. And then, he takes the secretion. So he actually collected this himself. He went out into the Amazon with he lived with the people, the village people, in an Amazon jungle, and he went out at night, sang to the frog. You have to sing to them to call them. These frogs are the only animal sorry, I'm going, like, way off topic, but the only animal in the Amazon that doesn't have, like, any predators. Nothing wants to kill this frog because it's just so poisonous. What? And so you sing to them, they crawl right on your stick, and then you have to, like, tie their little arms and legs to make them feel threatened, which isn't super ethical, but they do it in like the most humane way possible. And it'll just kind of sweat. The frog will start to sweat, and they gently scrape it with a little stick. And then they keep that stick, and the secretion dries on it. And later, to activate it, you just put some droplets of water on. And then he put that on my burns. And they start with 1, and then, like, as you go, they, like, kind of gauge how you're doing. And it makes you purge a lot. So what happens is your whole body, like, reacts to get rid of this poison. So your heart starts pumping. Like, you feel very there. You're never, like, somewhere else. You're, like, more grounded than ever. And it's an amazing experience.
Whoa.
You purge.
Hold on.
Okay.
All right, where you were.
Okay.
That's
You,
crazy.
yeah.
Oh, shit.
So a lot of people, like, throw up, and, yeah, that's basically just, like, a lot of people think of it as a cleanse for your system.
Sure.
But, it's
You
actually...
like get sick?
Yeah, you get very, very sick.
Okay. Did it feel good afterwards?
So, in the Amazon, like, in the Amazonian culture, from what I understand, and what he told me was it's an ancient medicine that, like, warriors would use before they went into war, or hunters would use the day before a hunt. And they have, like, these ceremonies for it. And it's also how they inoculate their children. So basically it's a incredible boost to your immune system, and just kind of like a reset button for your body. Like, what I experienced after doing it was just, it's almost indescribable. Like, I asked him to describe it to me before I did it, and he's like, you know, I can only tell you so much. You have to experience it. So I Googled the crap out of it, and, you know, like, I was like, okay, I want to do this. And I did it, and I still am struggling to find words, because it was like, you feel almost like more like an animal, which is how he described it to me. Whereas, like, your instincts are so sharp. Like, you can hear things so clearly. You can, like, you can smell things more, like, I don't know. It's just, it's crazy. You feel more connected to, like, every inch of your body.
Dope.
It's amazing. Sorry, I get really excited about it because it was so amazing.
No, that's interesting. I've never heard anything about that before.
You should look it up. It's Kambo with a K. Kambo. But yeah, afterwards, like, I always get sick every winter. I get sick without fail. I didn't get sick. I felt great for like noticeably different for probably like 6 months. Yeah, probably till now.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But now you feel terrible.
No, I just feel I need more combo.
So you moved to Northern California.
Yeah.
With your partner.
Yeah.
Sorry for calling that your partner the boy earlier.
No. You can call him the boy. Call him whatever you want. His name is... We'll leave him nameless.
His name is Inconsequential.
The mystery.
So, but you guys started this van thing together.
Yeah.
And you go to Northern California, and then in terms of your relationship, what happens?
So yeah, it got you know, we were together for a very long time. We were together for 6 years, like since we were really young, and we just got to a point where we, you know, it was better for both of us to not be together anymore and to go our separate paths. So we decided to do so amicably. Then we made the decision, because we were so, like, our breakup was so good, like, that we were both, like, laughing during it and, like, just being like, oh, you know, it's all good. And then we made the decision we're like, you know, like, we can both stay here and work here. And maybe that wasn't the wisest thing in hindsight. He ended up leaving later on, and I was alone with the van. And honestly, at first, it was kind of scary. Because not only had I, like, in my adult life always had this partner, but, like, in van life as well, I had always imagined my, like, life in a van with a partner. And so I know we were talking about this earlier, but, like, just to, like, I don't know, I guess I always pictured, like, I never pictured myself, you know, doing van life and going around. So it was kind of a moment for me where I was like, whoa, like, is this something I still want to do? like, you know, and it was intense, but luckily I had an amazing support system. And like I was talking about, you never know the people you're going to meet and the experiences you're going to have. And yeah, I ended up, the owner of my farm was this incredible woman. And she definitely like was my support system through that hard time. And I think that's like, we got super close, and that's why I'm able to go back and work again, because, you know, we developed like a nice relationship during that time. And yeah.
That's awesome.
Afterwards, I kind of just I was kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. For a bit, ended up staying there for the winter. Met some incredible people. I had way more crazy, incredible experiences. And then I decided that I was going to give myself a little vacation, because since we work with outdoor plants, like we work with the seasons. So there's like a dead zone, which usually lasts from like December until April. But December and January, I was kind of, you know, relaxing and just regrouping, I guess. And it was like the holidays. And so anyways, yeah, I decided to go to Baja. So that's why I'm down here. And I met up with you guys in San Diego. I'm on my way down there. So
Dope. I want to hear about all of that, but I'm so curious. We talked about this a little bit before, but like, is that where you first landed?
Yeah.
Same place?
Yeah, it's the first place like that I went to trim.
Okay.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
It's
And that's where you still have your hooks. Like,
yeah.
And my experience when I went to Mendocino was that, like, especially because, and it sounds like you got there about the same time, or maybe a little bit earlier than me, but when I got to Mendocino, when I was surrounded by my shepherds, the people that I knew in the neighborhood, I was cool. But if I showed up to the bar before they got there or something like that, everybody was like, who is this dude? You know, because there's a bunch of drugs in the neighborhood and they're not okay with some stranger being around during harvest season and stuff. Tell me about like some of your experiences with that.
Okay, so like definitely like the community that I work in is definitely small, and they see a ton of people come in during harvest season, but for the jobs.
I'm so surprised by your suggestion of how many foreigners are coming in. Is it like Agrippa? I mean, a dude from Poland? And like,
so I mean, the American economy in general, like, is much better than like a lot of other economies. So it's worth it for them to like come. To even make $15 an hour is like incredible for them. Yeah, like in Poland, they're actually having like a really big crisis where people can't afford housing and, you know, stuff like that. Like, just a lot of like countries over in Europe in general. Yeah. Sounds
like San Diego County.
Yeah. It's about to hit us too. So, but yeah, no, there's a lot of people. I think it's less about like that though, and I think it's more about the people that you meet that are gonna go down and like spend months, you know, on a farm, like trimming or doing whatever. They're gonna like, you're mostly gonna meet people who are traveling, who like don't want to keep a job somewhere, you know, that want to do seasonal work. It's mostly travelers. So you're going to meet people from all over. And that's where it kind of becomes like this hub of like, it's just, it's pretty incredible. Like, I feel like I've gotten more cultured, like, than I have
everywhere else.
Yeah, like when I travel to, you know, other countries. But dealing with like such a small community, like the people are cautious to let you in, and it's understandable because they see so many people coming through there. You don't know who's trustworthy. Like, there are a lot of characters coming through. And so yeah, once my partner left, I was there alone. Like, my friend had left who I had followed down there, and I hadn't really extended myself to the community like up until that point because I had been like sheltered in my little job with my like person and my van, you know. So yeah, when I found myself alone, it was kind of scary, but I ended up having the most incredible experience with it, which is where like I was in such a vulnerable place in my life, and the community like just completely welcomed me.
Rallied around you.
Exactly. It
Dope.
was incredible. Like, I remember I went into this thrift store and I was like, this was like at a very like intense moment for me in life, and I was super sad. I had walked like 3 miles to this thrift store and I walk in the front door and the girl looks at me because they know everyone in town, you know, like, and season had kind of ended. I didn't know where to go, so I was just staying on this farm in my van. And I walk in, and she just looks at me, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah," but I like, tried to say it, and like my voice is all shaky. And she's like, "Are you sure?" And like just the way she said it, like she cared so much. Like you don't go into a thrift store in San Diego, and you know the girl. I mean, maybe, but like. Usually the people aren't going to be like, care about like, you know, how is your day going? But I go in and she's like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "No." And then instantly, like, I told her about my experience. Like, I just opened up to this girl and she just welcomed me in. And from there, it was just like, you know, like every person I met was so, once I started kind of opening up and like sharing like a bit of my story with them, they would just like welcome me with open arms. And yeah, I really found community there, and I found like honestly a family there. It was incredible. I ended up spending like Christmas there and New Year's, and yeah, made some really good friends, and yeah, it was incredible. It's funny because these people do have like a kind of guarded, like rough exterior, I suppose.
Because they have to.
Yeah, the vibe is like different because it's like, oh, you're just another person passing through, you know. But once you like let people know like who you are, and you kind of open up about it, and then they'll welcome you with open arms. It's like the sweetest communities. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So, you left there a month ago?
No, I left
2 months ago?
No. I think like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, even just that recently?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe 2.5, 3 weeks ago.
And then you're gonna head down to Baja and
Yeah.
head back up in April or something?
Yeah, so I'm heading to Baja. I was supposed to be there like a week ago, but I love San Diego, so I got caught up here.
Sorry for delaying you.
No, I stayed for the podcast.
Yeah, it's all your fault, Marty.
I'm just gonna take this moment to pat myself on the back.
Yeah.
No, honestly, San Diego's nice for van life. Like,
It's great.
I know, I got here, I'm like, Baja who? Like, I got the beach. But, yeah, no, I'm going down for a couple of weeks, meeting my family down there, along the way, and some friends, and just taking a nice little vacation. I was, planning on South America, so I figured I'd give myself Baja as an easier little start to my solo travels. But, yeah.
Yeah, sure. And then you're gonna head back up, like, for April or something?
Yeah, so I'm going back up to start work again in April, and yeah, I'm gonna spend the season there this time, and we'll see from there. I'm leaving my plans pretty open-ended from there, because like I said, you never know what to expect, like in that area, like who you're gonna meet and what kind of things that you'll do, what experiences you'll have, but also just in van life, like having those experiences opened me up to like the possibility of me doing van life alone, because I'm like, if I can go into this town and like create this community, like it gave me a sense of like independence and like
Great.
yeah, so it made me more confident with the van life and doing it alone. And yeah, even now, like I came to San Diego and I feel like I've made like a whole community here of friends, and so yeah, we'll see what happens. But
You came here at a good time.
yeah, I think so. The synchronicity was good.
So your pops, we talked about this a little bit before, but you call your pops, you're like on the internet, and you're like, this is dope.
Yeah.
I want to live in a vehicle. And you call your dad up, and he's like, Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
This is not the experience that I had with my family.
Really?
Yeah, dude. How is your inner circle and your family responded to the whole van thing?
Amazing. Like, I couldn't have asked for a better response. Yeah, so my dad is the first one I reached out to about it.
After you showed your partner the PowerPoint.
Exactly, yeah. Because I was like, without my dad, like, I don't know if this is possible. So I gotta check in with him first, see if he's in on it, and then we can do it. I mean, I'm sure I could have built a van, but like, for what I wanted and my idea of it, I wanted to do it with my dad. And so I called him up, and I was nervous, and I was like, didn't know what to expect. I thought he would be pretty, like,
resistant?
Yeah. I thought, I mean, most parents would be, right? When you're like, I'm gonna go live in a van.
Most of my parents have been.
Yeah. So I called him up and I'm like, hey, like, okay, just wait till I'm done. And, like, I'm just gonna, and so I started telling him about it and he's like, I was like, yeah, so, like, I was thinking, like, maybe we could build it together and, like, if you could help me just a little bit, like, I'm, like, all hesitant to mention it. And he's like, no, yeah, that sounds amazing. Like, right on, And he was super stoked about it. And, also, like, he's like, yeah, I just have to talk to your mom about it. And so he ended up, like, talking to her about it. She called me, and I was nervous about her more, I think, because my dad's pretty, like, he's a pretty adventurous guy. Like, he's pretty, like, go with the flow. And she is, too. She's super cool, but she's just, like, I thought she would want me, like, she had to have a little more security or something. And I remember I talked to her on the phone the first time. She's like, yeah, like, that's amazing that you learned so young in life, like, that you're to put your happiness first. Like, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so
sweet.
cute. I know. And, yeah, just everyone. I was nervous about telling my grandma, and my grandma thought it was super cool. She did ask me, she did ask me the first question. She's like, well, where are you going to go to the bathroom?
Right.
She's like, are you going to have a bathroom and a shower in your bed? And I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, well, if you do, then I think it's fine. So I was like, okay, I'll put it in the plans. But no, they were amazing. Like, all super supportive and, just like wanted me to be happy, and they could tell how happy it made me and how excited I was. And they're like, yeah, go for it. Yeah. So it's super cool. I'm really lucky, honestly.
Where do you see it taking you? Like, beyond the next season?
Beyond the next season. The van?
Yeah. What do you want to do with it?
I'm so unsure. Like, there's so many places to go.
Have you seen Minneapolis? You had a good time in Minneapolis.
I haven't. Is that a good van life place?
I don't know. It was a nice place for us to be for 2 days.
Minneapolis was
or
cool,
whatever. Yeah.
So I think during the season, I'll probably take some van trips. I definitely want to spend some time in Sedona and southern Utah. I mean, those are like my favorite places that are close. And then we'll see, like, I definitely want to do some international travel and whatnot. But I think the main thing is, like, with the van, that's what I like about it, is I don't really have to have a plan. Like, I don't have to know what I'm doing in a year. Like, it's like when you sign a lease for an apartment, like, you have to commit to a year. But with the van, like, I can be like, okay, I want to get up and tomorrow I'm going to go all the way to Alaska. Like, I'm just going to start driving to Alaska. And I can do that. So...
And you can turn off if you decide you were wrong.
Exactly. Like, it's the ultimate tool for, like, freedom. And, I'm super, like, I'm always changing my mind. My plans are always changing. And I like it that way because it makes me more able to, like, be open to more experiences. Like, if I meet someone, like in San Diego, like, I met someone that's going and spending time in Ensenada and surfing there. And, like, if I would have had a plan to, like, be in Loretto at a certain day and, like, oh, I need to make it there and this is my agenda, this is my itinerary, then I wouldn't have been able to take up that opportunity. Like, yeah, like, So, I don't know what the future holds exactly, but hopefully more adventure and more travel and, yeah, that's about where I'm at right now.
Tell me the craziest shit you saw in in Northern California?
The craziest?
Tell me the craziest shit, dude. Or the second craziest shit.
I think some things are better left unsaid.
Oh, there's a lot. Okay, tell me the seventh craziest shit that you saw.
I don't know. I'm on the spot. Just give me a second. Let's think.
Okay. Just tell me anything you think of.
I mean, I've never seen so much weed in my life, and that was cool.
Yeah.
I've never seen so much cash in my life. That
Right.
was kind of cool.
Fair enough.
And yeah, I guess just like where I was working at, there's not a lot of law enforcement. Mm-hmm. So, like the town kind of rules itself. It's like, you
people
know,
are
like,
prepared to deal with something.
yeah. So like
Yeah,
there's
it's
some,
scary.
yeah. And the vibe is different. Mm-hmm. And I've heard some crazy stories and, I mean, the craziest thing I saw, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't, I'm sorry. No good content for you here.
Don't be sorry. Sorry.
There's a lot of guns there. Like, you're right. But I'm used to it from North Idaho. So
yeah.
when you told me that story, I was like, you know, like...
that sounds about right.
That's what it looks like next to my Wi-Fi router, too.
I have, like, a few... No, but, I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's just a lawless little town. Crazy things happen.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, what do you think?
I'm curious, like, so coming from Idaho, there's not much weed there, is there?
To be fair, like, I went to high school in Washington.
So there's a lot of weed there.
There's a lot of weed there.
Yeah.
But no, Idaho's pretty strict about it. And it's so funny because my family has always been pretty, like, my extended family has always been pretty, like, you know, strict about weed. And, like, I remember one time when I was in high school, I brought a pot brownie to, like, my lake house in the summer, and I got caught, like, and, I remember
Did they have drug dogs, or did somebody accidentally eat a piece of one?
Oh my gosh.
More funny.
No, my stepmom was going through my bag to, like, find something, like a hairbrush or something, and she found the brownie, and I think she, like, went to eat it, or, like, try a bite of it or something, or maybe it smelled so heavily of pot, because it was so
like,
strong. And, yeah,
that's not what brownies smell like.
And, it was like the 4th of July. I was just trying to get a little fade in. But no, she found it. And I remember, like, it was the 4th of July, so my whole family, like, found out about it. Like, we have huge 4th of Julys. So my whole extended family found out about it. They, like, ended up getting a pep talk from my uncle, you know, like, they were all super anti-pot. And, so, like, that was, like, the last, I was, like, a kid then, and that was the last, like, interaction I had with them around drugs. And so after I, like, came back for this season, or, it was funny because, like, all my family was just like, oh, like, yeah, that's so cool that you're doing that. How are you, like, you know, doing this? Oh, I take, like, CBD capsules now. like, do you make THC oil? Could you bring me some? And
oh my gosh.
It's, like, definitely, like, becoming more widely accepted. And, yeah, it's funny because it's these same people that were like, oh, like, you know, keep that away from my kids.
Yeah. So. My mom was like that, too. She was always, like, super against weed. And then she started taking CBD for, like, her back pain and, like, fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And now she's like, Colette, let me rip off your bong. I'm like,
no,
what?
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm amazed.
No, it's like it's just a plant, you know.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I definitely experienced, like, a lot of pot in Washington, so it wasn't very shocking. But the weed's really, really nice down there. Like, it's beautiful. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's all organic and, they grow it out of the soil, like, in California. So it's, like, outdoor, and so it's more natural. It's not, like, you know, lab grown or anything. It was really cool to witness, like, the process of it going from, like, a little seed and turning into something that you can, like, ingest and smoke.
Nice.
That's cool.
You got anything?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there's one more question, but I want you guys to talk about it because I feel fucking weird. Hold on.
It's for the question.
No, I already asked you this question before,
Okay.
but like, I just feel bizarre asking this question to women, but I feel like it's a one that needs to be talked about, which is, what is it like being a solo female on the road? Like, you guys share experiences of being a woman in the world that I don't understand, but I do know that it's different to be a woman than it is to be a man.
Yeah. So, like, what's the question? Sorry.
How is it traveling around?
Okay.
Like, without
a partner versus with a partner?
I mean, now, here's the deal.
Yeah.
You're in San Diego, and you've been here for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And you know I've got your back, and Colette's got your back,
Yeah.
and 24 other people have your back, right? But, like, when you go into a place and you're the only person there, there are people who might want to get over on you that wouldn't want to get over on me. You know what I mean? You're more of a target than I am as a dude in a van. And you're certainly more of a target than we are as a couple in a van. So
Totally.
how does it feel to be Peya in a giant ass Promaster when you're going into like uncharted territory?
Yeah, so it was something that I was definitely like nervous about and unsure about going into it. I think that the main thing is like you just have to be aware. Like you just have to be more aware of your surroundings. Like I don't tend to like do long highway drives at night anymore, and if I do, I make sure I fill up somewhere where I feel safe and like where I know I'm not going to be alone. But honestly, I've had more positive experiences from being alone traveling versus like in a partnership. I feel like people, like you are more of a target. Like people notice you and like they like notice that you're alone, but that has two sides. Like, you know, it can also be a good thing.
An
like,
advantage, yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly. So like for instance, when I was traveling through here, like a lot of times when people have their partners, and I'm sure you guys have this happen to you, but like you're kind of like, you have your person, right? You're traveling and you have your person and you guys have your plans and you're doing what you're doing. But when you're a solo traveler, like other solo travelers see you and they're like, hey, like, what are you doing?
We're together.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like, here's my plan. Do you want to come along? Or
I feel like we miss out on shit by being each other's best buds. You know?
And sometimes
there's stuff we could learn about the people around us that we aren't learning because we're together.
But you guys, it's not like you guys can't do it. It's just that like being alone has forced me out of my shell. Like it's forced me to like, instead of hanging out in the van, like you get like, you get lonely. Like, you know, you need that like human connection and that human interaction. So you find yourself, you know, starting a conversation with the person at Whole Foods or like going to a yoga class, like forcing yourself out of the van and into these communities or reaching out to someone on Instagram. And like, it's amazing because like other people do that to you as well. You know what I mean? Like people can see you, they can see that like you're alone and like, I don't know. It's been really great for the most part, to be honest. I've met more people and made more friends and like felt more a part of the community than when I was with a partner, mostly because I was like blocking myself off from that, you know, because you're comfortable, you know, you can just chill in your van and watch Netflix. But sometimes like, when you're alone, you want to go out and like meet people. So
see a new person.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cool. But like as far as safety goes, like I don't know. I think like it's definitely something to be aware of, but you can take precautions and feel super safe. Like the great thing about being in a van is if I feel uncomfortable, if I feel unsafe, I just start
drive
up
away.
and go out.
Yeah.
Like, I have had nights when I like don't feel safe, and it's not like the most convenient thing to do, but I just drive until the morning until I'm somewhere safe, and yeah, like
Great.
the worst case scenario, like just drive away. Yeah. But
yeah, have you had any run-ins?
Run-ins like with
that's a super open-ended question. I guess Colette and I have this policy that we've decided upon, which is if somebody's banging on the van and they don't say it's the cops,
police officer,
we get in the driver and passenger seat before we even pull the window shades down, and the van is in gear and we're gone.
Okay.
Because I'm not trying to get stabbed,
Yeah.
you know, or like bothered by some weirdo. And so if we're in the van and somebody who's not identifying themselves is banging on it, we're just leaving.
Totally. Like run-ins, you mean like have I had any knocks?
You've been knocked
or, like,
on?
Anything? I have. Actually, the other night. So I was like, I went to get food, and I don't remember where I was getting it from. Maybe it was like Whole Foods or Target or something. But I went to get food, and it was like the store was about to close. It closed at 10, and it was about 10. And I went in and I got like a bunch of groceries. And I got some chocolate. And so I like go back to my van. It's like my house, so I put my groceries away. You know, it took my time. And then I was just sitting there like snacking on my chocolate before I decided where I was gonna sleep for the night. And like this security guard comes up, and like I could see him like eyeing me from across the parking lot. Like, and I like knew he was watching me. I'm like, dude, like I'm just eating my chocolate. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah, take it easy.
Yeah. He's like,
People sit in their cars and eat all the time. Leave me alone.
So he's like in his truck, and I can like see him, like, and I'm like, okay, he's probably gonna come over. So he comes over, and he like knocks, and I'm just like, hey. He's like, are you planning on sleeping here? And I'm like, no, like I was just, you know, snacking, like I'm gonna leave soon, whatever. And he's like, oh, cause like I noticed your plates are from out of town. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you from Idaho? And at first I thought he was just being friendly, like maybe he like had been to Idaho before, you know, whatever. And so I was like, yeah, like I'm from Idaho, you know, trying to like just like be friendly and have a little conversation. And he started getting kind of weird. Like he was like, yeah, so normally I like don't let people stay here, but like since you're from out of town, like I, you know, like they sometimes get me in trouble, but since you're from out of town, like I think it'd be fine if you like parked here just for the night. And I don't know, maybe it doesn't sound creepy, but it was like weird vibes.
That sounds super creepy,
Because
dude.
I mean, the security guards that are hired in private parking lots are like, you know, they are not.
No, I know, but it gets worse.
Any kind of training.
So he's like he like said that, and I was like no, and then he started like trying to talk me into sleeping in this parking lot. And at that point I was like, okay, like trying to end the conversation and like leave. And he's like, yeah, like you know, like it's pretty quiet at night here and blah blah blah. I'm like, no, like I think I'm just gonna go. I have like a spot, you know, and I just said I have a spot on my Overlander, because like, you know, that's just like my go-to, like what I would say. And he like was like, oh, like where? Like let me know where. I can tell you if like there's if they have security there. And at that point I was like super freaked out. So I was just like, you know, I don't know, like I'm not familiar with the area, but I gotta go. And so he's like, okay, like, and he could tell that I was like kind of freaked out. So I started my van and I left, and I swear this happened. He followed me for like 5 blocks. And this is probably the creepiest thing that's happened to me
In a security
van
vehicle?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Was
no.
this here?
Yes, it was in San Diego. Oh, no, it was north. It was like, a little north of Carlsbad, but it was close enough. And so I was just like, so I just got on, like, that was like worst case scenario, you know, when you're like being followed. Like, I don't know, it was really weird. So I just like got on the freeway and started heading south, and I like came into San Diego and found like an actual nice place to stay, and it was fine. Like,
men are so creepy sometimes.
I know. So like there are things like that happen. Like I've had like,
Stay away from me.
but you just learn. Like you learn that maybe like maybe like if you're alone, don't talk to the security guard in the parking lot at night. Or like I've had like at night I try not to like fill up gas on highways like when I'm alone, just because I've also had like some weird experiences with that, or just felt uneasy about like people that would see me and then I would like notice that they were behind me for quite some time, which might just be me and because it was a highway, but at the same time, like, you know,
You
wanna
never be too careful. Yeah.
I actually have this go-to move that I do, and hopefully no creepy people see this. But like, if I feel like I'm being like watched or something, this is so. Pro tip for solo female van lifers. I have like a curtain between the back and the front that I keep up when I'm traveling, and I'll just like, if I see someone like looking at me, I'll just like pull the curtain back and like pretend to say something into the back, so it's like there's someone back there.
There you go.
You know? Or yeah, like something like that.
Sure.
So, just making it look like there's someone doing something in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the AR-15 ready.
Yeah, right.
There's a weirdo
Have you seen my big knife?
at the gas station. But for the most part, you just make friends
Mostly
wherever
it's
you
positive
go.
experiences. Like,
Yeah.
if that was the first thing I noticed different about, like, traveling with someone and without someone is, like, maybe it's because I'm open to new people and new experiences, but, like, other people are also more open to you. 'Cause
Yeah.
they don't feel like they're intruding on, like, your thing.
I've felt that a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, sometimes with the van friends that we have, I'm kind of like, you guys are hanging out all the time. You're not hanging out with me because I'm already happy. You
Yeah.
know?
But it's because you guys are hanging out. So, like,
Yeah,
we're
I think
hanging
we have
out
to
because
break
we
up.
don't hang
I hereby break up with you.
Oh, no.
No,
No,
that's
that's
not
so
actually the thing.
I don't want to be here right now.
Spin and I will stay here. You can go walk to the mattress.
No.
You would miss us too much.
Yes, dude. I need this.
I don't know where this came from.
That's cool though. That's reassuring to hear because I have felt a tremendous amount of camaraderie. Mm-hmm. Even if it's not the exact same type that you're talking about, from like solo traveler to solo traveler, we touch base and connect with each other so much faster than a lot of the other people in the world. I feel like, and so I'm thankful for that. Even if I don't benefit from what you're experiencing.
Well, and I just, going back to like the solo female thing, I feel like it's probably just not different than being a female in
general.
Like, you're more aware of things all the time already. Like, you don't want to I don't want to go in my Prius to a gas station late at night by myself that I'm not comfortable with. You're already so much more aware. You're thinking about this stuff all the time. Like, it's sad, but it's like feels like it's not much different.
And it's true. I think the only difference is that, like, you're dealing with, like, sleeping and, like...
Sure.
Maybe that's, like, the main thing. Like, I definitely like to make sure my spots on iOverlander have, like, a couple reviews now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
or, like, just because you don't have the safety of a partner to fall back on, or, like, when you hear something scary and you're at that wooded, like, iOverlander spot, like, you can't be like, hey, did you hear that?
Did you hear
Yeah.
You have to make sure you're, like, super comfortable.
Sure. But luckily you are equipped with the ability to drive away.
Exactly. And so it's
too
really,
drunk.
you're right, like, it's not much different. It's just, being aware and, like, taking precautions. And, honestly, it's mostly positive. Sorry for the scary, like, story, but it's just, like, that's the only thing that's happened, and, it was just weird.
I think our listeners like some drama here and there, right?
I wouldn't know.
A little suspense.
Yeah, dudes are creepy in general. I think that's what we learned.
Yeah. Enjoy the podcast.
Wow, man. I don't know. What do you have?
The parking lot's closing.
Oh shit. Right now? What time is it?
10:03.
Oh. Peya, did we miss anything?
I wish I could come up with a good story for you. Maybe next time. Like,
Okay.
not come up with one, but, like, remember a good one. But, thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Thanks for doing this.
I think you had lots of great stories.
Thank you.
Me too.
Okay, good. I'm glad I could add some value.
All right, guys, we did it. That was episode 52 of From the Van, coming to you March 20th, 2020. The From the Van podcast, 52nd episode. The most pivotal thing happening in the world at this particular moment. It was a great time talking to Peya. I hope that you enjoyed the episode. And, things might change with the podcast going forward for a little bit. We're not seeing a whole lot of other people lately. And so maybe we'll truncate this season of the podcast, start a new season of the podcast where we just talk at the camera. Who knows? But tune in. I promise to have something for you by Tuesday, regardless, because I'm sitting in my van. All right. Thank you so much for making it this far. If you're still listening, I really appreciate it. And stay safe out there. Talk to you soon.